So in the previous module, we have learned what Python is, its applications we have downloaded, and now we're finally ready to use it. In this module, we are going to be learning about the different data types. We're going to be learning what integers and floats is, what strings are, timestamps, and booleans. After this, we're going to be moving to some data structures such as lists, dictionaries, data frames, and we're going to be learning what indexing is. Stay tuned. So here's a slide with the 4 data types. Integers and floats are basically numbers. We all know from our math classes that an integer is a number without a decimal. Floats, on the other hand, allow decimals, and that's the main difference between the two. Strings, which is the second in this list, refers to words. Anything that I put inside of a quotation mark is a string. Later, we're going to be learning how to use strings with operators such as a multiplication sign or a plus sign, and how this allows us to more easily manipulate them, as well as making part of the string something that's changeable or mutable. This is, if I want to print or if I want to show a string that says, "Hi, my name is blank," and I want that blank to be an option, to be something that changes based on the name of that person or based on the code, we're going to be learning how to change it, how to make it mutable. Booleans, the third data type in this list that we find here, refers to a value that is either true or false. In binary, 1 or 0. 1 referring to true. We're going to be learning a little bit more about these conditions, how to use them, and how they aggregate. This is which combinations of true or false lead to a final true or false result. And we're going to be deep diving into this very soon. And the fourth one is the timestamp. The timestamp is a value of a day, month, year, hour. Sometimes even it can include time zones. We're going to be learning how to manipulate that, how to change its format, and how to extract information from them. So if I want to say which is the month of this timestamp, I can actually extract the month as a number or as a string. This is as an actual word, so January, February, March, etc. Okay, so here we are. We are going to start talking about floats and integers a little bit more in detail. And we are going to name this notebook class 1 module 1. Rename. So, we already said that a float and this would be an integer, and a float would be something like this. A float has decimals. We can use Python as a calculator. For example, we could do 4 plus 4. We press Shift Enter. In my case, should be the same in your computer, but you can adjust these commands. So I invite you to look to play with it and change the commands, your keyword commands, to shortcuts to whatever you wanted them to be. We can do 4 minus 2. We can do 4 divided by 2. And if we want to do something that's called a floor division, this is a division without decimals, so the output doesn't have any decimals. We can do 4 divided with 2 slashes by 3, and it's going to give us 1 instead of what it would give us regularly. So something that's very interesting is, as you can see when we did 4 divided by 2 in the third cell, we can see that the answer is at 2.0, even though the answer is technically an integer because it doesn't have any decimals per se. but Python is kind of like giving it the chance to have a decimal. So it's 2.0 instead of 2, as if would be if we do a floor division like this one. That is because the floor division returns an integer and the division returns a float regardless of the fact that it's even regardless of the fact that the division doesn't have any residuals per se. We do exponents with 2 asterisks and multiplications with 1 asterisk. So 4 times 2 would look like this. And if I want to do 4 raised to the power of 2 or 4 squared, I would do 4 double asterisk 2. So these are our integers and floats, and these are the functionalities that Python has as a calculator per se, something that we can use to do mathematical operations. Next, we're going to be talking about strings. So I'm going to do a very polite division here, and you guys are going to be able to access this Jupyter notebook inside of your course materials. I'm going to go ahead and do one here, floats, and I'm going to put markdown, and I'm going to run this. And here we go. We have 2 very polite divisions. So you can shake the type of a value with this argument. So if I want to do hi, this is a string. And if I want to do 8, this is an integer. If I want to do this, I get a float. And if I want to do this, I get an integer. So here, we're going to start working with the first one, hi, which is type string. As I said in the earlier part of this module, I indicated that we can use mathematical operations with strings, and we definitely can. So we're going to start seeing the effects of them. As you can see, I can do hi. Sorry, I need quotation marks. And my Jupyter notebook, it's going to return the word hi. And if I do hi plus hi, it's going to return hi, hi. But notice there's not really a space between them. That's because it just glues them together. So if we want to have a space, we need to do something like this. I can also multiply the word hi by a particular number. So for example, if I do like this, I get hi 2 times. If I do like this, I get something similar to what we got before. But notice that now there's a space here because I'm just printing this 2 times glued together instead of printing one without the space and one with it, as we did earlier. We cannot really subtract anything from a string. So if I do hi space minus I, it does not print h space. And I cannot divide strings either. So there's a limitation of the things that we can do with them. However, I do believe that we can do... No, we cannot do powers either. What am I trying to say? But yes. So this is how we use mathematical operators with strings. I am gonna very quickly talk to you about variable assignment, so I can talk to you a little bit more about what I told you earlier of muting or changing a string based on a different variable. So this is what we call variable assignment. If I want to say If I want to do this, now the words say hi have been assigned this string. So if I print say hi, it's going to return me hi because that's the value that has been assigned to that variable. Notice that every time that I have been running cells, I get a value returned as an output of each of these cells. When I do a variable assignment, I do not get a value being returned to me. That's because the variable assignment does not return anything. This detail is going to be a lot more relevant when we get into functions, but it's very it's nice to point that out now that we're starting to learn it, so we start to get familiar with some of the concepts and the mindset behind the programming language that is Python. So here, we already said say hi is this string. I actually want it to have a spacebar. So now it's like this. So I can do say hi plus, and let's say that we want to say hi to Marie. Now I get hi Marie because I can add this value with this string. And if I want to, instead of saying hi, I want to say bye, I can definitely do that. Oops, sorry, there's a quotation mark there. And now this is with space. This is bye Marie. So we said hi, and now we're saying bye. It actually can get a lot more interesting if instead of muting or changing the word hi or bye, we change the name. So let's put here name equals Marie, and I say hi plus name. Sorry. But what happens if I want to do this without having to add anything? Because what happens if I want to say, hi Marie, how are you? And I want them to be defined as kind of like, I don't want them to have to define multiple lines of text. So what I can do is, hi, I put an F before the first quotation mark. This is something that's called an F string. And I open a curly bracket right here. And I put the variable name. Notice that after I put the curly brackets, now my text stops being read. That is because Jupyter Notebook does not any longer recognize it as a string per se. It has exited the string, and it is allowing me to go fetch another variable that is not part of that string. So whatever I put here, I'm calling out functions, I'm calling out defined variables, anything that I'm allowed to input as a string inside of the text. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, how are you? And if I print this, notice that it prints a string with the word Marie, because that's the content of this variable, in the middle. So if I want the name to be Jasper, now it says hi Jasper. And let's say that goes like this. And now every time that I change the name, my greetings change along with it. Okay, so I hope you have liked it for now. We are gonna be going in more details about strings, how to escape the quotation marks, the type of quotation marks that we have available, and more in the next video. Thank you.